Are we as a nation headed for a recession sometime soon? Well, a sizable number of Americans, according to an RMG poll from October 21st, think that we are already in a recession. Yes, 39% of Americans say we are in a recession, 34% say no, we are not. And there are a lot of things that you would imagine contribute to this. Most importantly, I think, would be the stagnant wages as well as the labor market problems. The labor market is really tightening as a result of some of these immigration restrictions. Tariffs, of course, are also contributing to issues like prices going up. There was a problem with prices being high in 2022, 2023, 2024. But now, with actual policy that seems to be designed to raise prices, and President Trump and Scott Bessent both admit that they will raise prices, and they use the cope of short-term pain for long-term gain. That's something that is giving people the sense that, wow, we are in a recession. Things were not great last year. Things were not that great during Biden's last year in office, but things are getting worse. And yeah, we're following this downhill trend. We're going to end up in a recession. Now, why aren't economists saying that we are in a recession right now? It might have to do with GDP growth. So GDP growth has not been horrific, as a matter of fact, but at the same time, we can't treat GDP growth as the only thing that determines whether or not there's a recession. You might recall that in 2022, we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, and a bunch of right-wingers said, look, recession, it's a recession, oh my God, everyone, this proves there's a recession. There was a recession and nobody's calling it out. But the problem with that was that other factors were pretty solid. Labor market was actually good, unlike it is now. So there are a lot of economic indicators that we have to take into account. And we don't automatically say, oh, there's a recession, 2 consecutive quarters of bad economic growth. No, but let's talk about recessions more broadly. And believe it or not, 10 out of 11 of the recessions since 1953 have happened under Republican presidents. The only exception is the recession that happened under Jimmy Carter. You can recall there was a lot of economic malaise during his term. But yeah, it seems like history would just be, going its usual course if we have a recession sometime in the next 3 years or so. Although, some people might say, well, it's just timing. It's just timing, The Republican presidents just happen to be in office during bizarre times where things kind of just start to go wrong. And, they're not causing it, whatever. Just, Republicans actually care about the working class or something like that, which it's like, no, they don't. But even putting that aside, yeah, their policies do tend to lead to recessions. And a lot of right-wingers, when pressed on it, will admit, yeah, a recession's not bad. There are a lot of wealthy right-wingers in particular I'm talking about who say this. I told you about the guy who was happy about the idea of a recession coming soon. He's like, I'm looking forward to it. It'll allow me to profit. I can buy stocks at a lower price. And me and my friends were like, what? Really? Like, think about the people who are going to be harmed by this. But yeah, they don't care. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think we're in a recession right now? Please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This is the more the merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.